His Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON Samsthapanacharya, Savior of the whole world, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Jao Vishnupada Nitya Leela Pravishta, His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, Nitai Go Premanande Hari Hari Go. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, text number 39. Atha iha dhanyaha bhagavantaha itham ateha dhanya bhagavanta itham ya vasudeve akhila lokhanathe yat vasudeve akhila lokhanathe yat vasudeve akhila lokhanathe kurvanti sarva atmakam atma bhavam kurvanti sarvatmakam atma bhavam na yatra bhuyaha parivartha ugraha na yatra bhuyaha parivarta ugraha ateha dhanya bhagavanta itham yad vasudeve khila lokhanathe kurvanti sarvatmakam atma bhavam na yatra bhuyaha parivarta ugraha ateha dhanya bhagavanta itham yad vasudeve khila lokhanathe kurvanti sarvatmakam atma bhavam na yatra bhuyaha parivarta ugraha ateha dhanya bhagavanta itham yad vasudeve khila lokhanathe kurvanti sarvatmakam atma bhavam na yatra bhuyaha parivarta ugraha
ateha dhanya bhagavanta itham yad vasudeve lokhanathe kurvanti sarvatmakam atma bhavam na yatra bhuyaha parivarta ugraha
ateha dhanya bhagavanta itham yad vasudeve khila lokhanathe kurvanti sarvatmakam atma bhavam na yatra bhuyaha parivarta ugraha
ateha dhanya bhagavanta itham
ateha dhanya bhagavanta itham yad vasudeve khila lokhanathe
kurvanti sarvatmakam atma bhavam na yatra bhuyaha parivarta ugraha
ugraha. Some more devotees can chant.
Atehadanya Bhagavanta Ittam
Atehadanya Bhagavanta Ittam
Yadvasudeve Kila Lokanathe
Yadvasudeve Khila Lokanathe
Kurvanti Sarvatmakam
Kurvanti Sarvatmakam Atmabhavam
Nayatra Bhuya Parivarta Ugraha
Nayatra Bhuya Parivarta Yadvasudeve Khila Lokanathe Kurvanti Sarvatmakam Atmabhavam Nayatra Bhuya Parivarta Ugraha Atehadanya Bhagavanta Ittam Yadvasudeve Khila Lokanathe Kurvanti Sarvatmakam Atmabhavam Nayatra Bhuya Parivarta Ugraha
Atehadanya Bhagavanta Ittam
Atehadanya Bhagavanta Ittam
Yadvasudeve Khila Lokanathe
Yadvasudeve Khila Lokanathe
Kurvanti Sarvatmakam Atmabhavam Nayatra Bhuya Parivarta Ugraha
Atha thus Iha in this world Dhanyaha successful Bhagavantaha perfectly cognizant Itham such Yat what Vasudeve unto the personality of Godhead Kurvanti inspires Sarvatmakam 100% Atma spirit Bhavam ecstasy Na never Yatra wherein Bhuyaha again Parivartaha repetition Ugraha dreadful translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Only by making such inquiries in this world can one be successful and perfectly cognizant, for such inquiries invoke transcendental ecstatic love unto the personality of Godhead, who is the proprietor of all the universes, and guarantee cent% immunity from the dreadful repetition of birth and death. Translation with repetition. Only by making such inquiries in this world can one be successful and perfectly cognizant. For such inquiries invoke transcendental ecstatic love unto the personality of Godhead, who is the proprietor of all the universes, and guarantee cent% immunity from the dreadful repetition of birth and death. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The inquiries of the sages headed by Shaunaka are herewith praised by Sutta Goswami on the merit of their transcendental nature. As already concluded, only the devotees of the Lord can know Him to a considerable extent, and no one else can know Him at all. So the devotees are perfectly cognizant of all spiritual knowledge. The personality of Godhead is the last word in absolute truth. Impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma Supersoul are included in the knowledge of the personality of Godhead. So one who knows the personality of Godhead can automatically know all about Him, His multipotencies and expansions. So the devotees are congratulated as being all successful. A sent person, devotee of the Lord, is immune to the dreadful material miseries of repeated birth and death. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is another wonderful verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sutta Goswami speaking, and he is congratulating, as Prabhupada explains, congratulating the sages of Naimisharanya for asking these wonderful questions. That's how the Bhagavatam begins. The first chapter of the Bhagavatam is called Questions by the Sages of Naimisharanya. And if we carefully study, the sages ask 6 questions in the first chapter. Later on, you can all do an exercise. Read the first chapter and identify the 6 questions. It's very interesting. Because the Bhagavatam, the Sanskrit literature is different from English. In English we will say, these are the following 6 questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Right? But in Bhagavatam, it's embedded. So you have to search a little carefully. And you will find the 6 questions. In the next chapter, first verse purport, Prabhupada mentions 6 questions they asked. That's when we go back and, hey, where are the 6 questions? And you can look at for the 6 questions. Very nice. So, recalling, this is 3rd chapter, 2nd chapter, and then the 3rd chapter. Sutta Goswami is responding to those questions. And so he's saying, Ata iha dhanya Bhagavanta Itham. So, he's saying, all of you sages, you are dhanya. Dhanya, fortunate, blessed, successful. Your lives are successful because you have asked these questions. And very interestingly, Atheha Dhanya Bhagavanta Itham. Bhagavanta. Is it a mistake? Perfectly cognizant. No, it's not a mistake. The Acharyas have explained why Bhagavanta here means perfectly cognizant. We'll come to that. So, Dhanya and Bhagavanta, you're successful, fortunate, blessed, and perfectly cognizant. Itham, such. Yat Vasudeve Akhila Lokanathe. Vasudeva, Krishna, is the Akhila Lokanatha. Kurvanti Sarvatmakam Atma Bhavam. So, such enquiries, kurvanti, again here, Srila Prabhupada very nicely translates. Kurvanti, does, performs, but here Prabhupada translates that as inspires. It invokes. It leads to. Kurvanti. What does it lead to? Atma Bhavam. Bhava is ecstasy. That is why Bhava Bhakti is called ecstatic bhakti. I'll talk about that. I'll mention why this is Bhava Bhakti. These are all great contributions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was not known. People didn't know. These were all great revelations of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhava. Bhava means full of feelings, full of emotions, and full of ecstasy. Heightened emotions, ecstasy. And Kurvanti Sarvatmakam Atma Bhavam. These inquiries inspire, invoke 100% absorption, Sarvatmakam, fully Atma Bhavam, invoke transcendental ecstasy. And Na yatra bhuyaha parivarta ugraha. This parivarta, repetition of dreadful experience for the soul. The soul is experiencing a dreadful experience, and that is repeating again and again. And this understanding these enquiries, and these enquiries inspiring such devotion, ecstatic devotion to the Lord, completely ends. Nayatra bhuyaha parivarta ugraha. This repetition won't happen again, and it provides complete immunity from the repetition of birth and death. So that is the meaning. Only by making such inquiries in this world, iha, atha iha, in this world, can one be successful, dhanya, and perfectly cognizant, bhagavanta. For such inquiries, invoke kurvanti, transcendental ecstatic love, Atma Bhavam, unto the personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, who is the proprietor of all the universes, Akhila Lokanatha, and guarantee 100% sarvatmakam, immunity from nayatra bhuyaha, from the dreadful ugraha, repetition of birth and death, parivartha ugraha. So Srila Prabhupada in one lecture he mentions the purpose of human life, the important thing that we all should be fully engaged is how to end this repetition of birth and death. Not knowing that in today's world, people are absorbed and preoccupied, making money, becoming powerful, becoming famous, becoming known as highly knowledgeable people, and so on. They don't know the most important thing is for human society is that we should be concerned about this repetition of birth and death. It's very amazing that we are going to die one day, and what that experience is going to be, how that experience will come about for each one of us. We don't know, but that's not bothering us at all. Death is a private experience for everyone. No one can say, "Oh, my dear family members, please come with me, I am dying." They will also say, no, you please go. I mean, they won't say it, but they can't help it. And nothing can be done. We have to experience that alone. And what circumstances we will have to experience that we don't know. Remember we read some years ago, there was a Malaysian Airlines aircraft took off, and then after some few hours of flying, plunged into the ocean. Actually it went out of the radar and they couldn't really figure out where it went. Imagine airline, everyone is very happy, they're reading some book, watching something, or eating, drinking, whatever, some refreshment. And all of a sudden it starts plunging. People must be screaming. What must have happened? And then plunges into the ocean. What could have happened? Water getting into the cabin, and then people are screaming, children, women. And then they cannot do anything. They're just stuck. It starts, water keeps rising up and drowning. Nobody's there to tell us what happened. Recently I came across someone known to us very well in India. Their son was in America here. And he was a pilot trainer. And he was training another pilot, and the aircraft got into some difficulty and it crashed, and both the trainer and the trainee both were killed. And the parents and relatives, they were all there. And they sent the black box recording of the last moments And the parents heard that and they were finished, devastated. Young son, 30-year son. Can you imagine what could have happened? Screaming, crying, and then that sound ends because he's dead now. So it's a dreadful experience. And we want to go through that again and again. How stupid. That's why Bhagavatam, the sages are talking, Vyasadeva is saying, Nayatra bhuya parivarta ukraha. And that's why Yudhishthira Maharaj says it's so amazing, it's so most surprising thing. People don't discuss this, they keep it away. I don't know if I have shared. First time when I came in touch with Krishna consciousness, we started reading Srila Prabhupada's book, went home and started talking to our parents. We're going to die one day, we have to prepare ourselves. My mother said, shh, after evening lights are being turned on, don't talk about it. See, we don't even want to talk about it. It's inauspicious. We don't want to consider that. This is how we put it away and immerse ourselves in wealth, recognition, name, fame, position. So, human civilization means to be fully engaged in Nayatra Bhuyaha Parivarta Ukraha, being absorbed in how will I end this repetition of birth and death? When we meet each other, we should ask, we usually say, how are you? And they'll say, fine. Actually, our question must be, how is your progress of ending the repetition of birth and death? That should be our message of greeting one another. So, these enquiries that the sages have made in the first chapter, Sutta Goswami is saying, Kurvanti sarvatmakam atma bhavam. I mentioned about atma bhavam, ecstasy of the soul. It actually means it's the ecstasy of the soul. It's each one, every one of us is entitled for this. Like in this country especially, they say human rights is a big thing. Yes, the most important human right that we all have, we are entitled for this Atma Bhavam. Each one, every living entity, not just human, every living entity is entitled for this Atma Bhava, experience of ecstasy of the soul of Sri Krishna Bhakti. So, Bhavam, ecstasy, I mentioned earlier that this is an important contribution of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, it's not that it was not known to previous acharyas. It is not that the previous acharyas didn't experience it. They knew about it, they experienced it, and they talked about it, but that was amplified, that was further elaborated and clearly outlined and expressed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Usually, bhakti was under strict rules and regulations. In most of the other Vaishnava sampradayas, very strictly according to rules and regulations, the different aspects of the worship of the Lord. Now, that very careful, diligent execution of the rules and regulations of the worship should lead to a spontaneous expression of devotion, and that is called ecstatic devotion. Spontaneous. Prabhupada, another word that Prabhupada used for describing these things, Bhava Bhakti, is Raganuga Bhakti, or Bhava Bhakti is spontaneous devotion. In other words, a regimented practice of bhakti leads to a spontaneous awakening of spontaneous bhakti. Spontaneous means, you remember we read in our school and college days, something is considered as spontaneous, like water flowing from a higher level to a lower level. It doesn't require any effort, it just flows. So, at the stage of Bhava Bhakti, or spontaneous bhakti, from the soul, that bhava, that love, that feelings just flows. I'll give you one example to appreciate this. I don't know if you have heard this story before. We had one, did I mention this last time? We had one donor of our temple in Bangalore. He called one day. Did I tell this? If I have just mentioned a little bit more, you can remind me if I have told I fast forward. He called one day and said, Swamiji, we have bought a new house, want you to come and do a puja in the house. Did I tell you the story? No? Okay. So I said, okay, we will come and do a puja. And then he said, my wife said that we should call only you people from the temple. I said, yeah, thank you very much. We will come. And then he asked, how long will that puja be, Swamiji? So I was thinking, what kind of puja? He's a big man, important man. So let's go to a Narasimha Yajna in their house. And so I said, it will take about an hour and 15 minutes. So I said, no, Swamiji, that's too long. So make it short. So in my mind, I ticked off, okay, no Narasimha Yajna, we'll do Kirtan and maybe little talk. So I said, maybe 45 minutes. No, Swamiji, that's also too long. And then like that he bargained back and forth. And we settled for 15 minutes. So he said, okay, 15 minutes. Oh, it should be a real short kirtan. Anyway, we'll do that. And then we were discussing what time and how, and then all along when we were talking on the phone, I could hear some disturbance now and then in the house. Something must be going on. When we were talking, when we came up to 15 minutes, then he said, Swamiji, one second, if you don't mind, Swamiji, I'll call you a little later on. Something interesting, India-Pakistan cricket match. I'll talk to you later on, Swamiji, and he disconnected the call. Something exciting must be happening, India-Pakistan cricket match. And they were all watching in the house. You see, from this you can make out, when it comes to puja or some religious, some spiritual activity, it is, can you do it a little faster? I said, I can't take 1.5 hours. It's too long. 1 hour 45, even that's too long. Make it shorter, shorter. But when it comes to cricket match, and then, no, we'll talk about everything else later on. You see, there's an attraction there. Whereas for spiritual activities, there's no attraction. My wife told, what to do. I can't help it. I have to follow her instructions. So this is the difference between doing it according to rules and some obligation and something, whereas doing it with ecstasy, doing with a spontaneous flow. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu assures, the Bhagavatam assures, that when we do regimented, regulated practice called Vaidhi Bhakti, which is according to Vidhi, it will one day bring us to a platform of purification and bring us to an experience of spontaneous bhakti. Not that whole life we will only be doing, struggling, some more, we have to do this. This is the assurance that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives. This is the assurance that the Bhagavatam gives. Gita, Bhagavatam, all of them talk about this. Bhava samanvitaha. Krishna talks about that in the Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matha sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. Samanvitaha means fully infused with bhava. Buddha bhava samanvitaha. It is actually referring to bhava, bhava bhakti. Bhava samanvitaha. Samyak anvitaha. Like we say gauravanvitaha. Remember that expression is there in many Indian languages. Gauravanvitaha. Anvitaha means full of, infused with, brimming with respect. Gauravanvitaha. Here it is bhava anvitaha. So it is full of bhava. Bhava samanvitaha. Samyak anvitaha. Bhavaha samyak anvitaha. Bhava samanvitaha. That is the meaning. So, Sutta Goswami is saying, Kurvanti sarvatmakam atma bhavam. Sarvatma atma bhavam. It inspires, it invokes these inquiries that you have made. They inspire atma bhavam. Ecstatic love. For whom? Akhila Lokanatha Vasudeva. And so, you sages who have asked these questions, you are dhanya, you are blessed, you are successful, you are fortunate, and Bhagavanta fully cognizant. Bhagavanta, it is described here, Acharyas, Prabhupada has explained here in a brief manner. As already concluded, only the devotees of the Lord can know Him to a considerable extent, and no one else can know Him at all. So the devotees are perfectly cognizant of all spiritual knowledge. That is why Bhagavantaha, connected with Bhagavan, the devotees are those who are fully cognizant. We are cognizant of this material world is not having any worth, any value. Just like if you say, last night I had a dream and I was in a palace and it was a tall, big building. Then if I ask you, do you know the ceiling height of the palace you saw in the dream? What was the marble? What kind of marble was it? It has got any value? And you are able to describe, it has this and this marble, this and that, this height and dimensions and all these things. It has any value? Everything went away, in the dream. When you woke up in the morning, all that palace, everything vanished. It has any value? It has any worth? And I was cognizant of all those things. It has any worth? It has no worth. In the same way, our experience in this material world, it will be gone. What experience we had in our previous life, anything we remember. This is just another extended, protracted dream, and it will be gone. And in the previous, sometime in the night also when we have dreamed, we will have fight with each other, or we will have some pleasant exchanges with each other. Everything is gone. In the same way, in this life also we are having some pleasant experience, some unpleasant experience. Everything will be gone. And what are we making a big issue about all these things? So, Bhagavatam means those who are fully cognizant. You are not only blessed and successful, you are all fully cognizant. You will become fully cognizant if you pursue these inquiries. This is the assurance that Sutta Goswami is giving. Actually, when at some point I came across this, and I was in college, I think. I was already practicing Krishna consciousness at that time. And then I came across this information. I'm sure some of you know this. In the 1950s, there was one American astronomer, Hubble. He made a telescope called Hubble telescope. It's a radio telescope. And for the first time, he reached out to the depths of the universe, which was never done before, from very, very, very distant galaxies. He got some very faint radio signals and amplified them and studied them. And he did that over many years, the same galaxy after so many years or something, whatever that is. And for the first time, he came with a proposition that the universe is expanding. Before that, during Einstein's time, the theory was known as the steady state theory. The understanding was that the universe has reached a certain steady state, whatever it is, however it came to that steady state, and this is the way it is and it will remain. But now this was a new understanding that the universe is expanding. The universe is expanding. So which means if you go to the edge of the universe, that edge of the universe is not static, but it is moving outward. And of course, after this hypothesis that Hubble put forth, many, many scientists did a lot of research all over the world, and it's a proven fact now. And they also scientists not only studied that it is expanding, they could even study the rate at which it is expanding. And that's how they did the study. If it is expanding like this, then at one day we will go back. Where was it? Which means it was on a point. And that's how they come to the conclusion that 13.4 billion years, the Big Bang occurred. Before that, this idea was not there, the Big Bang. So, now, when I read about it, I was thinking, oh my God, universe is expanding. Expanding into what? You know, you can say, I throw a ball, it goes up, up, up. It's all going within the universe, right? Within the space. Now we are talking about the universe itself is expanding because there is no space beyond it. The space is part of the universe. It's expanding into what? Nobody knows. Even scientists say we don't know. Of course, it's far, far away. But where it is expanding, and in one sense, my day-to-day problem, next, will I get my breakfast, will I get my lunch, will I pay my EMI? Okay, it doesn't matter. These are my immediate problems of my life. But actually, if you think about it, we don't even know what this universe is expanding into what. We don't know. I'll tell you one story. One day in Bangalore, I was walking back to the temple. It was about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the night. The streets were already deserted. Not like it was, I'm telling about some 25 years back. Now it's like more crowded there. I was walking back and suddenly one car parked by my side. And I was startled. I was having my mala bag, chanting last round. And suddenly the door opened and somebody dragged me into the car. And the door was shut. And the car started speeding and they held me like that. And the car started speeding. We were on the highway. I was looking, I was full of fear. But I was very tired that day. And the car was speeding and then I dozed. And then once I dozed off, I what's happening. And then suddenly I woke up after some time and then I saw the car was still going and all strangers around me. And then they spoke to me and they said, we have got some food for you. And they gave my favorite food they had brought. I don't know how they figured out. And I started eating and it was very good, very tasty, something. And then they were also had a small television, that display. And they asked, and they were playing something, some humorous, some light thing. And so I started, and I was also drawn into it, and I was watching. And it was going on. It was nice food, nice thing to watch, and then going on like that. And then you may say, good, and I started relating with the emotion, nice, laughing, crying, and it goes on. Do you think it's a very appropriate situation to be like that? I don't know where I am going, these kidnappers, where they are taking me, and I don't know where I am heading, but I'm, nice ice cream I'm eating, nice, something humorous. I've become absorbed, but where this car is taking me, where these captors, they are taking me, where we are heading, I really don't know. But I'm enjoying this ice cream and the cinema. Right? You understand? That's what is happening to us. We don't know where we are going in this life, but we are amused by some small things that's going on around our life, and we are all very happy and excited about it. Once I told this story to somebody, and then at the end of the story, those people asked me, Prabhuji, what happened to you after the kidnapping? I know I told you in the beginning, it's a story. They thought that I was really, they were concerned anyway. Nice. So, our life is like this. We don't know where we are heading, what that place we are going to. Car is moving, we know. Time is moving, we know. But where we are going, we don't know. But we are quite absorbed and amused by the wonderful recreation that we are having in this world, in this life. We don't know where we are going. In fact, in truth, ontologically, where this universe is heading, what is happening, even scientists who are supposed to know all the things about this world don't know. That's why the Bhagavatam says, only the devotees are Bhagavantam fully cognizant. Only devotees are cognizant. Because we are taking this knowledge from the Shastras, we are practicing bhakti. And this practice of bhakti brings us to a platform of able to experience spiritual reality, which is reality. Material reality is an illusion, like a dream. It will be gone. And I just wanted to share two verses from the Gita. This is about Bhagavantam, fully cognizant. And Krishna talks about this and in a very interesting way. In the 15th chapter, called Purushottama Yoga. Prabhupada translates this chapter heading as the Yoga of the Supreme Person. The last two verses of that chapter, 15, 19 and 20. It's a small chapter. 19th chapter, Prabhupada often quoted this verse. Yomam evam asammudo janati purushottamam sasarvavid bhajate mam sarvabhavena bharata. It's a very, such a nice verse, this Lord describing these things. And how only Srila Prabhupada points out all that. Otherwise you will miss these great things that are there in these verses. Here, asam mudaha, foolish. Asam mudaha, sammudaha, fully foolish. Samyak mudaha, sammudaha is a celebrated fool. Right? Asammudaha, no, not a celebrated fool. Fully cognizant, fully aware. And very nicely, this is one more meaning of the word asammudha. It is without a doubt. That's the meaning Prabhupada uses. Asammudha, without a doubt. Yomamevam asammudho janati. Asammudho janati. Knows, janati, to know. Knows without a doubt, with full conviction. Asammudho janati. What does he know? What is Krishna saying? Yo, yaha, who, mam evam asammudho janati, purushottamam. One who knows me to be that Purushottama, Uttama Purusha, the Supreme Person, who knows me, Janati, as the Purushottama, as the Supreme Person. And how does he know me? Without a doubt. Asammudo Janati. One who knows Krishna to be the Supreme Person without a doubt. What is he? Yaha, he. What is he? What is Krishna saying? Sa sarvavid. He is the knower of everything. This is the perfection of knowledge. Sa sarvavid. Sarvavid, vid means to know. That's how the word Veda comes. Sa sarvavid. Sasarvavid. So he knows, he's the knower of everything, and what does he do? Bhajati Mam. Mam Bhajati. He renders devotional service unto me. And how does he do it? Once in a way he does. Otherwise he is busy with so many things. No. Sarva Bhavena Bharata. In all respects, Sarva Bhavena. In all respects, fully he is engaged in serving me. Now I'll read the translation. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is to be understood as the knower of everything, and he therefore engages himself in full devotional service, O son of Bharata. This is the meaning. One who knows everything, one who recognizes, understands Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the knower of everything, and he renders devotion to Krishna fully. Sarva bhavena bhajati. So sarvavid bhajati mam bhajati, mam sarva bhavena bhajati. After saying this, so in other words, when Prabhupada says that Krishna is the Supreme Personality, knowing Him is the ultimate, this is what Krishna is saying. Without a doubt, knowing that it is not Brahman, it is not any of those, they are all partial understandings of the Absolute Truth. Krishna, personality of Godhead, is the final word of Absolute Truth. And then in the next verse, which is the concluding verse, let's see how Krishna says. Iti guhyatamam shastram idamuktam mayanaga. Iti guhyatamam idam iti guhyatamam shastram idam uktam mayanaga. This is the most confidential portion of the Vedic literature. Proclaiming Krishna as the Supreme Person, knowing that Him to be the Supreme Person without a doubt. This is Sarvavit. This is the knower. This means you are knowing everything. Iti gupyatamam shastram idamuktam mayanaga. This is the confidential portion of the Vedic literatures, Arjuna, and now I have spoken that to you. Maya uktam. I have spoken that. Uktam, uvacha, to speak. Next, Krishna says, Etat buddhva, knowing this, knowing me to be the ultimate person, Supreme Person, buddhiman syat, becomes a wise person. One who knows this is a wise man. Etat buddhva, buddhiman syat. Krita krityascha bharata. Krita krityaha. Krita krityaha. Krita means to be done. Krityaha means he has done. He has performed. This he and his endeavors will know all perfection. Krita krityaha means he is most perfect. What is to be done, he has done it. What ought to be done, he has done it. It means Krita Krityaha, he is the most perfect person. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures. Iti guhyatamam shastram. O sinless one, maya anagha. He is referring to Arjuna as anagha, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me, maya uttam. Now I have shared that with you. I have disclosed it. Whoever understands this, etat buddhva, will become wise. Buddhiman syat. And his endeavors will know perfection. Krita krityahas syat buddhiman syat. Etat buddha buddhiman krita krityaha syat. He becomes. So now you see why Prabhupada and the Acharyas are translating Bhagavantam, Bhagavanta as perfectly cognizant, fully cognizant. And these are some of the wonderful things that Bhagavatam is presenting, that now these inquiries you have made will invoke pure such Atma Bhava, ecstatic love for the Lord who is Akhila Lokanatha, and you are all truly blessed, successful and perfectly cognizant. And you who have come to this stage will not once again experience Parivarta Ugraha, Na Bhuyaha Parivarta Ugraha. This will give complete immunity for repetition of birth. We'll stop here. Any of you have any questions? Yes, Edison.
You spoke about how for individuals it's not bothersome about their existence to question about themselves, their consciousness or their existence. So is there any other angle to understand that other than ignorance? Other than the general answer that I get from this question is they're ignorant.
Yeah.
People are ignorant about their existence. It bothers me, I mean, for myself also personally, that if something else is my true existence, so I'm feeling my consciousness as of now. There's a constant consciousness inside me. I just exist in a particular time and I just vanish in a particular time according to whatever the present day people say online. But why don't I question that? So is there any other angle to understand?
Why don't we question? We exist, and after some time our existence is going to come to an end because we see death happening around us. We read in the newspapers. Why we are not questioning it? Sambodha, because of foolishness. That is why Prabhupada gives that example of a goat in a butcher shop. The butcher has given the goat some green grass and it is chewing. There was a brother goat who was slaughtered in the morning and his meat is hanging there. This goat is not able to see all that. Maybe it can see, but it is not spiteful. But I can also be killed like this any moment. But I am looking at the green grass and thinking, oh, such a lucky day I had today for me. So much green grass is there. I'm enjoying the green grass. This is what is happening to the goat, isn't it? Actually, it's a fact. Today or tomorrow, the moment that meat is sold, the butcher will butcher this. He will kill this animal and hang his meat. But right now, the goat is, what is in front of the goat? Green grass. I'm chewing it. It's so tasty. Exactly this is what's happening to us. We have created a world which, by which we own something, possess something, and victory, and people glorify us, and all these kind of things. It stimulates us, that success, and we are very happy about it. One day we are going to be killed. We are not bothered about it. It is just illusion. It is just that foolishness. We are not cognizant. What we are telling is not fairy tale. One day you are going to die is not a fairy tale. Like sometimes, when we were children, we heard about fairy tales. Someone angel came with wings, and as children we would be happily hearing those kind of things. But though none of those things are true, but what we are talking about is not a fairy tale, it's absolutely, it's going to happen one day. But still it is not striking us because we are like that animal, stupid animal. Animal can afford to be stupid. Human beings, we have that intelligence to recognize that. So we have to wake up. That is why Upanishad says, Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Varami Bhavagata. Uttishta, wake up. Jagrata, Uttishta, arise. Jagrata, wake up. Prapya Varami Bhavagata. Prapya Varan, what a blessing. Vara is a blessing. Prapya Varan Nibhodata. Vibhodhana means to reflect on. Reflect on the blessing you have received as a human being. Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Varan Nibhodata. Kshaurasya Dhara Nishita Durgam Patastat Kavayo Vadanti. This is Katha Upanishad. So we should not be sleeping. We should not be, lying down. We should wake up. Arise, awake. That famous talk comes from this verse. Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Varani. So you see how our Upanishads are urging us. Don't be in ignorance. Wake up. This is reality. So so that is why Prabhupada says there is no civilization which teaches these things like the Vedic civilization. All civilizations, they had some great monuments, great values and great ideas and different things they had. But this is the greatness of Vedic civilization, trying to help us understand what is reality. So that kind of an illusion sets in human society, in individuals, in groups of people, in countries and internationally. And that's what is happening in the world today. There are very intelligent people, brilliant people, but somehow that basic understanding, knowledge is not there. You see now, when you see this way, Srila Prabhupada practically begged in his letter to Mahatma Gandhi, can you please give 1 month and spend time with me? We will discuss Bhagavad Gita. You are a great devotee of Bhagavad Gita, but somehow you have been misled. Please spend 1 month with me, and you will see there is so much value, so much important things are there in the Bhagavad Gita. You will benefit. He implored. You know that letter, if you read Srila Prabhupada writing to Mahatma Gandhi. So this is very, very special, what this knowledge is all about. We'll stop here. Kankarat Srimad Bhagvatam ki, Shri Radha Gopinath ki, Shri Nitai Gauranga ki, Srila Prabhupada.